Okay, so here is another page from the review, and there's some overlap. I'm wondering if these two pages, and you see I wrote it out here, but if these two pages are from different reviews, because this one has a 6, 7, and 8, and we just did a 6, 7, and 8, I think. So anyway, find the page that goes with this. Okay, it says draw 530 degrees. First off, remember that you're starting your ray at the origin. So it's going to go from here and point out in whatever direction 530 would go. So I'm going to start at 0. Always start at 0, which is to the right. And this is always your initial side of your angle. And then to find out where the other side is going to go, you're going to go around. Notice I started out, and I didn't say this, but I started out by drawing the axes, right? Okay, so I'm going to go all the way around. That's 360. And then another 90 would be 450. And another 90 would be 540, but we're not going quite that far. So 530 would be somewhere in here. I draw a ray going out from the origin, and I would just label it 530. And that's my angle. Okay, now the next two are going back and forth between degrees, minutes, seconds, and decimal form. Okay, so degrees, minutes, seconds. This is 100, and I'm going to leave the negative off for right now because I can just put that on at the end. This is 152 whole minutes plus 43 over 60, not whole minutes, I'm sorry, 152 whole degrees plus 43 over 60 minutes plus 2 out of 3,600 seconds. Okay, and that's 3,600 seconds in a whole degree. So this is how many minutes there are in a whole degree. This is how many seconds there are in a whole degree. So that's what we do. So I'm going to put that in my calculator. I would do it with parentheses, like 152 plus 43 divided by 60. Oops, I wrote times, sorry, or punch times. Plus, new parentheses, 2 divided by 3,600. And that gets me 152.71722. If it says nearest thousandth, remember that's 3 places. So that's 71722. I don't round up. And that's my answer. Okay? Now going the other way, I'm going to take, remember this, the number, and I'm sorry, this was a negative. I forgot to put that back on at the end. I do need to put that back on. But going the other way, I'm going to take just the decimal part because we have 250 whole degrees here. That's not going to change. It's just the part that's less than a whole degree that changes how we write it, whether we write it in minutes and seconds or whether we write it in decimals. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say 0.571 of a degree, that's 571 thousandths of a degree, is how many minutes? So I'm going to go times 60 because there's 60 minutes in 1 degree. So 0.571 times 60 equals, I have 34.26 minutes. Okay? So again, I'm going to take the whole part. In other words, I have 34 entire minutes, whole minutes, and set that aside. So I've still got 250 degrees. Now I've got 34 minutes, and take the 0.26 of a minute, that's 26 1/100ths of a minute, and change that to seconds. Okay, since that's already minutes and I'm going from minutes to seconds, that's only one place removed, so it's times 60. The only reason we used 3,600 up here was because we were putting the whole thing in degrees. So from degrees to minutes, that's 60. From degrees to minutes to seconds, that's 60 twice, which is why it's 3,600. So here it's just 0.26 of 1 minute, so that's 0.26 times the 60 seconds that are in 1 minute, and I get 15.6. So 15.6 seconds what I would do is go ahead and round what's left. In other words, we're not going any smaller than seconds, so I would round that to 16 seconds. So 250 degrees, 34 minutes, comes from right here, and 16 seconds. And that's my answer. Okay, the next 5 problems are going from degrees to radians or radians to degrees. Remember, it's always 180 in pi because 180 degrees equals pi radians. So you just have to decide which way we're going to multiply in terms of which number is on top of the fraction. If I'm trying to get degrees as my answer, I put the degrees on top. If I'm trying to get radians as my answer, I put the radians on top. This says I'm going 2 radians, so I'm putting the radians on top. So I'm multiplying by pi over 180. Down here, we already practiced some of these. If I'm going 2 degrees, I'm multiplying by 180 over pi. Okay, so this is going to be 200, which is over 1, times pi over 180, which is 200 pi over 180. I believe it said leave them in pi. So I do, well, I don't need to really do that on there. I'm just simplifying. So I can take the zeros off because that's like dividing by 10. 20 over 18 simplifies to 10 ninths. So 10 pi over 9. Next one. And you really don't have to deal with the negative until the end if you want to wait. But just don't forget to put it back on like I almost did above there. That's 115 pi over 180. The whole thing's going to be negative. So I now have to figure out what goes into 115 and 180. 5 goes into both of them. 5 goes into 115, what, 23 times? So that's 23. And it goes into 180. Let's see. 36 times. And I don't believe that simplifies, so that's my final answer. 23 pi over 36. Okay, now these 3 are 2 degrees. I think we just did this one on the last sheet, so I won't do that one again. But because we're trying to get it in degrees, we multiply by 180 on top of pi. And the nice thing about that is those pi's are going to cancel. I can cross cancel them or I could wait until I have them on top of each other and then cancel them. It makes the same thing, has the same end effect. So 11 times 180 is 1980. This seems really familiar. I'm thinking we just did these. Yeah, we did together, I think. Okay, so that gives me 495 degrees. Next one, 2 pi over 9 times 180 over pi gives me negative 360 pi over 9 pi, and 9 goes into 360, I believe, 40 times, yes, so negative 40 degrees. Okay, and that's it for this sheet. So let me find a few more. There are a couple of more problems that are really important, so don't stop here.